Welcome to the Rogers Kakasungura YouTube channel. A big thank you for the support you're granting this platform. We have just 1 month, one year to the general election. That is next year, 2027. And politicians are looking for money to fund their campaigns by all means humanly possible. And William Ruto is not exceptional. In fact, if there's a person who needs more resources than any other, it is William Ruto. Why? Because 2022, he based his campaigns on handouts. 2027, Kenyans have become more wiser than 2022. If he was spending 10,000 per person in 2022, this time round, he will spend 20 or 30 because Kenyans have known that whatever they are being given is their stolen resources and they must take it back by all means possible. Now the question is, in the whole scenario of hiking the fuel prices, the question is, who entirely benefits from this? Who is the beneficiary? Allow me to dive into what Riggy said last night when he was leaving to the UK. At the airport, Gachagua held a press conference and said, in the whole story of hiking of fuel prices, the one individual who is bound to benefit is the President of the Republic of Kenya, because he's desperately looking money to fund his 2027 campaigns. Can we listen to what Riggy said?
Good afternoon. Now, Democracy for Citizens Party leader Gachagua says the united opposition will stage mass action on June 25th against the recent fuel price hikes in collaboration with Gen Z commemoration events. The former deputy president, who has arrived in the United Kingdom for a week-long engagement with the diaspora, also alleged incidents of voter bribery in the just concluded Emurua Dikir parliamentary by-election, while expressing confidence after his party's second-place finish in what he described as a stronghold of President William Ruto. Here is Seth Olale with that report.
He was treated to a grand farewell by supporters who arrived early at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to bid goodbye to the DCP party leader ahead of his departure to the United Kingdom. Just before leaving the country, Rigathi Gachagua weakened fuel prices, terming the increase unjustifiable and raising concerns over the rising cost of living.
It is targeting consumers. Prices of food will go up. Prices of consumer items will go up. This situation cannot be allowed to continue.
Calling for nationwide demonstrations set for June 25th alongside Gen Z commemoration events, the former deputy president said the planned protests will amount to a vote of no confidence in President William Ruto's administration, which he accuses of failing to cushion Kenyans from the rising cost of living.
If we have to take to the streets, so be it. If we have to say, let the transport sector stop until these matters are addressed, we must do so.
He also linked fuel sector profits to the acquisition of tallow oil assets in Turkana, alleging misuse of proceeds from the sector.
It's a fraud. We had been told when I was in government that it was supposed to regularize prices and cushion the people of Kenya from sporadic changes in pricing system. But the price keeps on going high.
The DCP party leader also dismissed the government-to-government fuel import arrangement, saying it has failed to shield Kenyans from high fuel costs, warning that recent imported petroleum is of poor quality and poses risks to vehicle engines.
Which is dangerous because sulfur, when it is exposed to the environment, turns into sulfuric acid and that is not good for our ages.
The former deputy president, who has since traveled to the United Kingdom for a week-long political tour, also pointed to the DCP party's second-place performance in the recently concluded Emurua Dikir by-election as evidence of growing support for the united opposition ahead of the next general election. Seth Olale, Citizen TV.
I have always told you before that I rarely doubt what Riggy says, because whatever Riggy has said goes in line with what Ndindi Nyoro told us a few days ago, and even yesterday Ndindi Nyoro at the press conference. And if you carefully listen to him, it is like there are a clique of people in government who are benefiting by suppressing the ordinary citizen, by milking dry the ordinary citizen to fill their buckets out of the campaigns. Because when the global prices are high, for instance, a government has a fund that cushions Kenyans against any surging global prices. This is what it means. Serikali ya Kenya iko na pesa mahali, imeweka fund ziko in case chakula ikose katika taifa la Kenya, inapeana subsidy to those producing, ili badala ya unga, kwa sababu ya ukosefu, badala ya unga kuuzwa shilingi 1,000 per packet, serikali inapeana subsidy, ile unga inateremuka paka around 500 shillings. Instead ya kuwekea mwananchi ile pesa yote, serikali inachukua like a half na mwananchi analipa a half, so that mwananchi asiumie. So in this particular issue, the government of Kenya also has a fund. It is called, I don't know, petroleum something fund. Inamaanisha hizo pesa zimewekwa wakati kumekuwa na high prices that Kenya cannot control, like now global. Yani ukienda Uganda mafuta ni juu, ukienda Tanzania mafuta ni juu, ukienda Australia mafuta ni juu, ukienda Saudi Arabia mafuta ni juu, ukienda Rwanda mafuta ni juu. When there is a global high prices, a country takes money from that fund to cushion Kenyans. Instead of putting the global burden to the consumers, that is Kenyans, serikali inalipa kidogo, mwananchi analipa kidogo, ili serikali inajazia ile ya juu ambayo ni global addition. Sijui kama unanielewa. Ni kama kwako uko na pesa umeweka, ya? Unasema hii, labda mtoto umepatia biashara, akikuja aseme hii biashara leo imeenda chini na sina pesa kuenda kuleta stock. Badala yake kuchukua ile burden yote kwenda kutafuta pesa, unamsaidia kumuongezea, anaenda analeta stock. That's a simple example for you to understand what it means. Na hapa Kenya, kwa sababu mafuta ya Tanzania bado iko chini, mafuta Uganda iko chini, I am convinced kuna mtu anatengeneza pesa za campaign. If there was a global high prices, Tanzania pia ingekuwa juu. If kungekuwa na global high prices, Uganda pia ingekuwa juu, kwa sababu Kenya na Uganda wanatoa mafuta mahali pamoja. Mutadanganywa ili hali kuna mtu anakula ahead of 2027. Tufungueni macho. God bless you. See you in the next episode. Asanteni sana.